Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Ordinary People Change the World by Brad Meltzer, illustrated by Christopher Eliopoulos. After the video, visit laurenmartinbooks.com for more free learning resources. Please like, share, and subscribe to Lauren Martin Books for more read-along stories. Now, let's read I Am Ruth Bader Ginsburg. I am Ruth Bader Ginsburg. How do you create change? I was born with the name Joan Ruth Bader, but my sister changed it to the nickname Kiki since I was such a kicky baby. For kindergarten, my name got changed again. There were so many girls named Joan that my family started calling me Ruth. One of the hardest things to change is what the world thinks of you. Growing up in Brooklyn, New York, I liked the things most kids liked: roller skating, riding bikes, and playing games like stoop ball. I also did things girls weren't expected to, like climbing to the roof with my cousin. It wasn't easy to reach that roof, but I got there. When I was little, people expected different things from boys and girls. In some of the earliest books I read, boys would be climbing trees and riding bikes while girls would just sit around in pink dresses. Thankfully, my parents didn't accept the way things were. My father was an immigrant whose only formal schooling was at night to learn English. My mother got a job and never had a chance to attend college. Only her brother did. Since he was a boy, the family thought his education was more important. My parents wanted a better life for me, and they knew how to get it. Every week, my mother took me on our Friday afternoon adventure to the library. I'd pick out 5 books, Little Women and The Secret Garden. I also enjoyed Greek mythology, and I love doing what you're doing right now, reading about real female heroes, like Amelia Earhart and Harriet Tubman. Since we were Jewish, my mother also introduced me to Jewish women of valor, the bolder and bravest of them all: Emma Lazarus, Henrietta Sold, Lillian Wald. These women stood for the Jewish idea of tikkun olam, repairing the world, which means helping make the world a better place. To teach me the value of helping others, on my birthday, my mother would take me to the local Jewish orphanage, where we'd give away ice cream to everyone. Sure, it would have been nice to have my own party, but I knew how much it mattered to those who had so little. Being Jewish, I also learned that there were people who didn't like me just because of my religion. Hatred is similar to injustice. Both are destructive fractures in our society that we must repair. Today, people know me for my intelligence, but I wasn't great in every subject. In 8th grade, boys had to take woodshop, while girls were forced to take classes in sewing and cooking. The assignment was to sew our own graduation gowns. Mine was a mess. Thankfully, my mother had it fixed by a local dressmaker. When I was 17, my mother died. She was the strongest and bravest person I knew. She changed my world and taught me one of life's great lessons: there's nothing a woman can't accomplish. At Cornell University, a professor helped me understand that one of the great ways to change unfair things is through our legal system. Understanding the law is like understanding the rules. The problem was, back then, people didn't think women should go to law school, and they certainly didn't think Jewish women should. I never let that stop me. I went to Harvard Law School and then Columbia Law School. When I started, there were 9 women and 500 men. There wasn't even a woman's bathroom in the main building. I was selected for the law review, an honor for top students at both schools, the first woman to do so. Did I mention that I achieved this while becoming a mother and taking care of my husband while he had cancer? At my law school graduation, I was tied for the first place in my class. But because I was a woman, there wasn't a single law firm in New York City that would hire me. Luckily, one of my law professors convinced a local judge to take a chance. Sometimes the only way to make change is when someone gives you a chance. From there, I studied the law in other countries and became a law professor. While in Sweden, I discovered that they had lots of women enrolled in law school. I even saw a judge who was pregnant. Other times, you won't know change is possible until someone shows you it's possible. When I started teaching at Rutgers Law School, my female students helped spark my interest in a developing field of law. To prepare, I read every federal decision ever published about women's rights. It didn't take long. There weren't many. Eventually, I put that knowledge to work for the American Civil Liberties Union. Back then, even our local college was boys only. We helped change the admission policy so girls could study there too. My coworkers and I saw how many unfair laws existed. We took them to court to strike down these laws. Oftentimes, change doesn't happen all at once. It happens little by little, case by case. All we wanted was for women and men to have the same rights. To achieve that, we needed to change more than the laws. We had to change how people think. It came down to a simple question. How would you like the world to be for your daughters and granddaughters? One of my biggest cases was about a woman named Sally Reed and a law in Idaho that said when you're choosing someone for a certain job, you should always choose a man before you choose a woman. I co-wrote the brief that we sent to the Supreme Court, which is the most powerful court in the country. I found out the result on a train. Sally Reed wins. We won unanimously, which means every member of the Supreme Court voted for our side. It was the first time in history that the court struck down a law like that for being unfair to women. Soon I got to argue my first case at the Supreme Court. It looked just like the temples from my old mythology books. I wore my mother's jewelry to honor her. At the podium, I had to lower the microphone. 9 justices, which is what they call the judges, all of the men, stared down at me. I was definitely nervous. But once I started speaking, the justices got to hear what life was like when people treat you like a second-class citizen. In each case, our argument was the same. Over the years, we won 5 out of the 6 Supreme Court cases I argued. In the process, we changed the way people are treated. Eventually, I wasn't just arguing in front of the court. I became a judge, and then a Supreme Court justice, the second woman and first Jewish woman ever. One of the most important cases we heard was about the Virginia Military Institute, a school that didn't allow women to be students. These were the same arguments I'd heard for decades. This time, though, I would be the one of the people voting. Every justice but one agreed with me that the school treated women unfairly and had to change their policies. More important, at other public schools, they can't do that to girls either. During my time on the Supreme Court, I wasn't always on the winning side. In fact, I lost a lot. In one case, a woman named Lily Ledbetter was being paid less than her male coworker for doing the same job. My dissent told Congress that my fellow justices misunderstood the existing law. Within 2 years, Congress listened and created a new law. Over time, the best reasoned dissents can eventually become the majority view. In my life, they told me that women couldn't climb trees, couldn't have adventures, couldn't be lawyers, and certainly couldn't be a Supreme Court justice. But there's nothing that a woman cannot be. I was as smart and capable as anyone else, but because I was a woman, I wasn't given the same opportunities. So how do you change things when the rules are unfair? You change the rules. At some point, there will be things you want to change. People might call you a complainer or troublemaker. They'll tell you that things are fine the way they are. But when you see something that's unjust, you need to take a stand. Use your voice. Use your brain. If people ignore you, let them hear your dissent. You may not win now, but you can open minds tomorrow. Today, they call me a trailblazer. But the best part of blazing a trail is leaving tracks. That means you're not just doing things for yourself, you're leaving a path for others to follow. Start with one voice and let it grow into a chorus. I am Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Create equality, create justice. Who did you learn about in this book? What are they famous and most remembered for? What did they do to accomplish their goals and change the world for the better? What challenges, obstacles, or difficulties did they overcome to achieve their dreams and make the world a better place? What can you learn from them? What are your goals and dreams? What can you do to make the world a better place in big ways and small, everyday ways? What challenges might you need to overcome, and how can you overcome them with the help of others or with the help of your own determination and hard work? Write or draw what you learned about the historical figure in the book and their achievements. And think about what you can learn from them about accomplishing your dreams and how you want to change the world for the better. Please like, share, and subscribe to Lauren Martin Books for more read-along stories. Visit laurenmartinbooks.com for more books and free learning resources. Thank you for reading with me.